Well, hello everyone at the Be Awesome Network. I'm Lori. I'm so excited to be here with Bernie. Bernie, you and I, we kind of made fast friends.
Yes, yes, we did. The
I,
universe stuck us together like glue.
I love it. I love it. Well, I just remember we were following each other's stories and I was commenting on yours and I was like, hey, why don't you come on to the Be Awesome Network and tell your story? Because you have an amazing mission and you just got a new magic, I'm going to call it a magic machine. But
Yes,
you
it's magic.
You are passionate about health and wellness, and especially women over 50. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think because I'm in this space at the moment, I feel like it resonates to me and I can speak with authority, I suppose, because we're not getting any younger, so our body isn't functioning as properly. So for me, it's like I need to find how I can live the next 40 years of my life as happy, healthy, and energetic as possible. So yeah, as I say, certain things just fall into your lap at the right time. And yeah, I feel blessed to be in this position at the moment. So that's pretty cool.
I love it. Well, I love that you're just assuming that you're going to live 40 more years.
I know it's almost like, yeah, do I want to live that long? I don't know how many wall stand push-ups I'm going to have to do when I'm in my 80s.
I don't know. I've seen some pretty incredible women out there who are 60, 70, 80, and in such incredible shape. And I know you work really hard to stay in shape. Well, let's just kind of get into your story and what brought you here.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, Laurie, we're on the same path and we've got very, very similar vision about how we want to look and feel and inspire people as well. So, obviously with your network, you want, to inspire as many people as possible because not everybody, has that inspiration flooding into their life. So, I love what you're doing with your community, inviting people that have got some information that they might not know about. So, you know, people come together for a reason, and we have met for a reason. We're very much similar. And from all the voice notes back and forth, you're living on the opposite side of the world. I'm in Australia. So, it's amazing how technology is moving so quickly. So, for me, with this new device that's come into my life, I think, just being able to say yes to opportunity is really important to not be closed off to people and new ideas and new ways of thinking because it could just be the thing and the precursor that makes your life so much better. And I know, from connecting with you and watching, what you're doing in your life and what you're doing for your community, like it's inspiring for me and that just fuels me. I know you're probably the same as well. So if, people can just be open-minded about, opening their lives up to new things, you just never know where it can take you.
That's very true. It's very true. There's so many new technologies and new devices, and it's so hard to know like where do I go? Which one do I pick? But I
Yeah, I
know
agree.
from what you've said is that there was a real dip in physical fitness basically in 2020 because even though we were kind of locked in to like we didn't have much to do. We could go outside, but it's like people started being more sedentary, working from home, being on laptops, those kind of things. And you call it the concrete jungle that
Yeah.
we're a part of.
Yes. I know
And
it's shocking, really. It's like a prison when you think about it. We're indoors so much. And this is where this company, it was born during COVID. So, they saw that there was a need to heal the world. And like you said, yes, we could go outside, but we were trapped. That pandemic just defaced the planet, like no other. And so we've got to get back to healing again. There's still a lot of trauma from that. There's, a lot of people are now, not socializing's different now even too. And, it changes your mindset. So it's just rewiring yourself back to getting out there again and re-healing your body. So, it's pretty, again, things happen for a reason. And yes, COVID was revolting and awful, but something really good came out of it as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's talk about your journey because you have a story and you've been through a journey yourself and you had you had a need for this machine and that's why you reached out and it kind of got it. But let's hear a little bit more about you and why.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess I've always been into health and fitness. I've been a personal trainer before. So I know a few things, like I know what I'm doing. So fitness has always been a huge part of my life. I train, 6 or 7 days a week. I eat relatively well. I'm an 80-20 girl. Like I love my wine. So for me, I have to train. Like it's a non-negotiable. Like you brush your teeth, you train. You need sleep, you got to train too. So that's my mentality. I'm a single mum as well, so there's certain pressures in your life, and sometimes they can just get a little bit overwhelming. But things kind of started to change for me at the beginning of this year. I turned 50, but my dad was also really sick as well. So I thought that it was probably, the menopause route that was, kicking kicking me in the butt. But little did I know that the pressures of life and, dad getting sick and then passing away, my body was just so overworked with stress, and my adrenal glands were just, through the roof. Um, this machine came into my life at the right time. I was introduced to it when Dad was sick, and I said, look, I literally cannot take on another thing at the moment. Anyway, so that was 3 months ago. Dad passed away, and then I thought, oh, I'll look at this machine. Anyway, within the first 5 minutes, I was like, get me this machine. So essentially, it just helps your blood do what it's meant to do. So, if you're highly toxic and you're not drinking properly, you're not exercising, your body's not getting rid of those toxins, where are they going to go? Our body is meant to flush them out naturally, but as we age and as we, overload ourselves with stress, no sleep, bad food, toxic water, all those things, there's only so much your body can do. So for me, it was like, okay, well, this makes complete sense. So the PEMF and the terahertz frequency helps just to shake up the blood, essentially. So last Thursday, I went and had a live blood analysis. So I wanted to check, and my machine literally arrived last Wednesday. I was so excited. It was like it was Christmas because I'd been waiting for so many weeks for this damn machine. Anyway, the next day I went and saw a naturopath. We did a live and a dry blood analysis. Which was really interesting. So some of my blood cells were tear-shaped, or they were a little bit flat. They were moving, so they weren't dead. So that was good. But they could have looked better. My dry blood analysis showed my adrenal um, oxidative stress was high. There was a lot of white spots within the dry blood. I had 30 minutes on the PEMF machine, so it's P90 machine. And then we did the analysis again. So it was really interesting to see. It was a bit nerve-wracking actually, because it was like, I really wanted this to be the thing that could help heal my body back to being me and feeling like me again. And it showed that the red blood cells were perfectly formed. They were brighter, they were healthier, they were plumper. And the dry blood analysis showed a huge amount of less oxidative stress. So there was less white patches within that sample. So when, you think about your blood and it being able to function properly, it wasn't functioning properly. So I've been using it for the last this is my 6th day. And on the scales, I've already dropped 2 kilos. Now, I haven't changed anything. That was just stress and inflammation that's been leaving my body. So it's pretty exciting to know that there's something that's so minimally invasive. Like I'll show you, it's literally, it looks like a set of scales. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a little bit blurry, but it looks like a set of scales. So you just put your feet on those silver plates. You just sit down. You can be sitting in bed. You can be sitting at your desk. And then this little button here. So it literally, you can just crank it up as high as you want or as low as you want, depending on the time of day and what you're obviously wanting. So for me, I'll just have it at 1 at night time, and in the mornings I'll crank it up to 5 because I want that little bit of extra energy. So you can use it up to 3 times a day. I just use it in the morning, at night. It helps me sleep better. I feel brighter. I've got more clarity. So you can just feel that it's working, but even when you're on the machine, I feel nothing. So you kind of think, is this thing working or not? But it wasn't until I got on the scales, it's like, yeah. And I just feel like a weight's been lifted. So yeah, it's pretty amazing, amazing technology. So I feel very, very lucky and blessed to have found it, because a lot of people think, that they're putting on weight, that it's body fat, and they're not changing anything in their diet, but it actually might not be that. You might just be clogged up. You think about your blood as, you want it to be like a fresh flowing river, but it actually might be a stinky swamp that's not moving anywhere. So we got to get that flowing and get those terahertz and the PEMF through our body, so that we can get back to normal recharge.
I love that. You talked a little bit about the technology behind it. You said it's even NASA uses this with astronauts, and so let's talk about how that works, because it sounds like kind of like a a great solution, but how does it work? How does it help your blood flow, and how does it help those toxins get out?
Yeah, it was the frequency that goes through your body. So think about the Earth's electromagnetic field. So as I was talking about, in being in a concrete jungle, we've got all these not very good frequencies hitting our body. And we also don't walk barefoot on the earth anymore. So we're not getting that natural frequency that our body is craving. So they call it the fifth element. So, you know, there's so much about this that makes so much sense. And like, as I said before, NASA uses this. So, if it's good for astronauts, it's good for us, right? So it helps with bone density and muscle retention. It also repairs as well. So, it really is such an all-rounder. Yeah, it's incredible, incredible to be able to have something where you don't have to go up and get to the gym. You don't, it's so easy to use, it's not funny. So, if this can be a precursor for people that are, they feel that their body's broken. Before this, I literally was not able to bend down and do up my shoes in the morning, because my back was so sore and my joints were really sore. And that was just oxidative stress building up in my joints. So now, like, I feel so much more limber. So it's helping people that have got arthritis, heart disease, high blood pressure. You know, there's so much research and so many testimonials out there. Obviously, they're all independent, and that's personal, advancements that those people are experiencing. But because it is such a natural way to repair ourselves that doesn't require prescription, that's just a yes for me. This is another reason why I'm using this as well, is because my dad had a little bit of heart issues and lung issues. Like, he was 87, so his body was breaking down. However, and he had blood issues as well. But the doctors, they sort of didn't really know what was going on. So they'd be like, here you go, have this medication. And then that would make him feel funny. So it's like, okay, we're going to drop that, but how about we take this? So it was almost like, he'd be having like this, handful of medication bigger than his breakfast plate that, just, it just, yeah, it makes me sad to think that he had to go through all of that when it could have been so easily fixed naturally. So, it's why I'm so passionate about this, because I think, people just think that going to the doctor and getting an antidepressant, for example, which is what I was told to have when I was going a little bit stir crazy, perimenopause. It's like, I don't want an antidepressant. It's not that. It's, changes in my body that I just couldn't figure out. So, you know, pills aren't always the answer. That's what I'm, trying to get to. So try and look for, other avenues to be able to repair yourself naturally.
Yeah, I love that, because it's definitely one of those things where it's frustrating when you have those symptoms that you can't control and you don't really know where else to turn other than your doctor who gives you prescriptions. And even if you try the natural things, you can do a lot of trial and fail and trial and fail, and it's really frustrating because I've been through it myself. It's like you, it's like I don't really want to be on medication. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm looking at these other options of, doing hot yoga and exercise. And
Yeah.
you talked about how this is a precursor for people who feel like they can't exercise or they don't have that motivation or they just need to lose that extra weight. But it's like you get in this, you talked about being sedentary and you get in this kind of lifestyle of not being motivated and, sitting around watching TV and maybe not eating well, but it's that one thing. If you can do that one thing that helps you feel better, then that starts the ball rolling, right?
Totally. I agree. I absolutely agree. And as we talked about before, I'm very much an advocate for health in terms of movement and nutrition. But sometimes, I get it. Life is hard. Like we're busy. So it's so easy to just drop those things off. But what are you trading for, really? You're trading your life away. If you're not sleeping properly, you may as well chop 10 years off your life. It's so bad for your body if you're not brainwashing yourself at night. It sounds funny when I say it, but they do use that term that you're washing your brain out at night. It needs to stop. It needs to stop thinking. So, if you're not repairing yourself, it's just a snowball effect. And then the next minute you've got chronic inflammation and you've got, all this illness and disease happening. And, it tends to happen quickly and without warning, but the warning signs were probably already there. You just weren't listening because life's too busy. You just think, I'll just push that aside. And I'm guilty. I was pushing it aside, but then I also didn't know. I just thought that my exercise and my diet was enough. But now that I know it's not, like I'm 50, I'm not 20 anymore. My body's slowing down, my energy's lower, even though I'm doing all the right things. We need that the PEMF and the terahertz to just recharge us like a Tesla. It's like plugging yourself in. You stick your feet on the plates, 20 minutes, half an hour, you're good to go. It's really cool, really, really cool technology. It couldn't be more simple.
Yeah, I love that. I've heard of, grounding shoes and, pads that you might sleep on or put your pillow on. Is it,
Yes,
is it similar to that? It's like,
similar.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Those tend to be just PEMF waves, but this is combined with terahertz, so it's a little bit stronger and it's a little bit deeper as well. So depending on what you want, a lot of people might just, use the first, one, two, three settings, but your body gets used to it as well. And, a lot of people have found, if you go a little bit too hard too soon, because you're in such a hurry to get it to work and you want to be healing, the detoxification that's happening, the fallout from that is real. Your body just needs to just
Mhm.
go slowly and just slowly detoxify your body instead of ramping it right up to 10, which, I must admit, I would I had thought about it, but I was good and I only did it early and, used the first couple of settings. But I'm up to 5 now. And the difference in my training and my intensity is just through the roof. I did a reel the other day. That I love pre-workouts because I love that caffeine here. I've always liked it, but that's not very good for my system either. So to know that I've got a natural way of being able to give me gas when I need it at the gym is phenomenal. I've gone up in weight, I feel stronger, my oxygen intake's different. Like again, it's blowing my mind and it's only been a week.
Wow, awesome. Well, I'd love to know more about how can we get our hands on this machine?
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? So what I might do is anyone can obviously contact me, but what I will do is the reel that I did about the blood analysis, like I found that really interesting. So I'll put that at in the comments as well, so people can actually watch and see. For somebody who's relatively healthy, to have shown that my bloods weren't that great and they probably weren't functioning as well as they should, to what happened after 30 minutes. I think, visuals are really important. So it does ship globally. So, everyone's, available to have this working in their home, in their workplace, anywhere, for their parents, their kids. I've also put my Labradoodle on as well. So he's 17 and his little back legs aren't working as well anymore because, he's losing muscle. But at night time, just before bed, I'll just pop him on my lap for 5 minutes on a low setting. And that little bugger, he's so sprightly in the morning. He's skating around on the tiles. So it's really nice to see him benefiting from it as well because, he's old, but, I want him to be as comfortable as possible. So, and that's a thing too. Like the cats, apparently within the team, people who have cats, they literally just come. They just because they feel the frequency. They know that there's something there, so they'll sleep next to it. A girlfriend of mine, Tracy, her bird sat on her head, so she had her cats, she had her bird on her head. So they're all like getting benefit from these frequency waves. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Oh my goodness. And that makes sense that animals would know, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. They don't know what it is, but they just feel it. Yeah. So that just is another reason why that having something so natural that even the animals are gravitating towards it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I love it. Okay, well, I have a question about the blood work you had done. Do you have to go to a naturopathic doctor to get that kind of blood work, or you called it blood? It's probably not blood report. How does that work?
Yeah, so live blood analysis. So what they do, and the video will show you. So you just get a tiny little prick on your finger, and the naturopath will have like a little glass slide. So just pop your blood on there and magnify it essentially. So she did two. So she did 1 times 100 and 1 times 400. So it's amazing that you can see a cell, your blood cells. So it's pretty amazing. But the live and the dried gave different results and different information, sorry. So the live blood analysis, you can actually see the blood flowing and you can see, how they're formed essentially. And it shows you as well. So it did say that I was magnesium deficient, which is interesting because I take a heavy dose every day. So I'm not getting that absorption. So that's really crucial information for me because magnesium is so important. That's probably why I was feeling like I'd been hit by a train in the mornings because my body just I felt wrecked. And I'm thinking, God, I'm only 50. I'm not 150. This is not cool at all. So I think that's probably where my training has been amplified as well because I just feel a little bit more limber and I'm able to push harder as well. So I do still have to sort the magnesium out. But yeah, in terms of the analysis, it tells the naturopath a whole world of information for you as well. And you can just see the difference. Like it just blew my mind, particularly with the dry blood. Even Kate, my naturopath, was like, because it's new technology to her as well with the dual technology of the PEMF and the terahertz. So yeah, I highly recommend getting it done, regardless of whether you use this technology. If you're not feeling like you're firing in all cylinders, there's probably something going on, and your blood will tell a complete story.
Wow, that's so great to know. I mean, for me personally, I actually am in that stage of life where I've gone through the perimenopause and now I'm postmenopausal, I guess. I don't know a lot about it at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
It's like it's so
It's a bit
interesting.
sketchy.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been noticing lately that, I've got some aches and pains that I'm not fond of and I'm trying to do, yoga every day and get in that infrared heat and get my sweat on and all of that, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I totally identify with what you're saying, and I'm sure a lot of women do because what our bodies do go through. It's a complete like change,
Yeah, it's
and
massive.
a lot of times there's so many different symptoms that I don't feel that you might feel that someone else might feel. So it's all so different. And so like getting down to the blood is so
Yes.
smart.
Yeah, agreed. And the last time I had bloods was when I was trying to get pregnant, like 15 years ago. And back then it was like, here, have a mountain of medication. And it's like, that I'm sorry, but that's too slow. I need to be pregnant now. So, for me to be, to see what I've seen, I can just, the healing has happened so fast, but it makes complete sense as well. There is so much information which I'm happy to share. If you reach out, there's so much incredible information out there, and Zooms that I can share people with just so that, they can listen and learn because, knowledge is power. So, you have to research it, make sure it's right for you. So, for example, people with a pacemaker, it's not going to work for you because it's an electromagnetic frequency. So that's going to interrupt the pacemaker. And also if you're pregnant, and if you're a high bleeder as well. So, there are certain contingencies that you can't use it. But for, the everyday person who just, wants that vitality back, highly, highly recommend it.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm gonna be the first on your list to get all of that information.
Great. I can actually, yeah, what I'll do is I'll pop a couple of links below, but yeah, anyone who wants to reach out, and if you want to jump on a Zoom or if you want to be invited to a call, there's always some great information, but also people are giving testimonials as well. And they're just, it's blowing my mind, the diversity of healing that's happening with this technology. So, and so quickly, like I said, so, it doesn't take months. People are experiencing better sleep even just after one session. So, if you can fix your sleep, you know how it feels like
Mm.
when you've had a good night's sleep. And most of us don't sleep well. Like I had terrible, terrible insomnia before this. I would wake anywhere between 1 and 2 o'clock, and I'd be awake until 4, sometimes 5. And you wake up feeling hungover and you just can't function. You're not thinking straight. You're not making good decisions. You start eating all the wrong things because you're tired and you're trying to give yourself that energy. So,
Mm.
swapping out, or swapping in, should I say, something that's going to help you better, it's the precursor for everything else to fall into place.
Yeah, I love that because it just takes one thing. Usually, it just takes one thing to help with
Yes.
you to get started. And so I love the fact that it's something that's not going to be artificial or like a drug, like you said, or a
Yeah.
prescription. It's just a natural frequency that our bodies already need.
Yeah, it's craving it. It's absolutely craving it. So yeah, it's pretty, but it's the simplicity behind it. This isn't their only machine. They have the P90 Plus that's got like a beauty wand as well, which helps tighten muscles, and a massager as well. Plus they've got some goggles too. They're next on my list. So that the team is absolutely raving about these. So it just helps with inflammation. I know for me, I can wake up puffy. I'm a little bit puffy today. But just to help with the eyesight, just, reinvigorating around the eye area, great for migraines and headaches. And like I said, puffiness. I do wake up a little bit gluggy in the morning. So I'm really looking forward to be able to, get rid of that. So it's like a heat massage. It's like a massage chair on your face. So you can imagine how amazing that would feel. Um, Plus, next month they're bringing out, it's called a shaken massager. So it's designed to be a fat loss tool, but also helps with heavy menstruation pain around the midriff. Plus, they've got some sanitary stuff as well. So, they're always advancing and they're always bringing out new information, new technology. So, it's it's again amazing, amazing technology that's always evolving.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And you have mentioned a lot of things about women. Is this also something that men could benefit from?
Absolutely. And I think also for men who don't like to ask for help, this can be a really easy, quiet way for them to bring something into their life that's not going to upset their usual routine, for example. So, my business partner, for example, she deals with truckies. So, those guys are literally sedentary for
Mhm.
so many hours in the day. They eat on the road, which is not often healthy. And they're probably a little bit heavier than they should. So these guys are loving it because it's such a simple, easy way to be able to get their body, moving on the inside when they're not able to. Because, they've got a sedentary job, they're sitting behind a wheel for hours and hours and hours. So, it is available to absolutely everybody. So, yeah, again, I can't rave about it enough.
I think that's amazing. And it is like, as we were talking, it really is a technology that's new, but it's also so vital. So I really appreciate you sharing all of the information that you
Oh,
did
my pleasure.
today.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love our new connection, and I love following you along, and you're doing amazing things with this group here. So kudos to you. You're an amazing powerhouse.
Well, thank you so much. Well, and without people like you, I wouldn't have this
Yeah.
amazing group. So thank you for spreading your message and for being an example of how we can follow along and improve our lives and improve our bodies and have that vitality that you talk about and that longevity that we all want to feel good, and whether you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or however old you are, it's never too late to start. And there are things about even in younger bodies, there are challenges with health and the blood flow and all of those things. So it's not
Yeah.
just for older people; it's also for younger. Yeah,
That's right. One of the testimonials that I mentioned a couple of times was a mother came on once on one of our calls, and her son was highly autistic. He couldn't string two words together, but now he can. So, when you think about all the things that our body has trouble with, um, hopefully there's a way to be able to heal like from the ground up, essentially, from your blood up. So it's just supporting your body to be able to be the best that it can be.
yeah, yeah. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bernie, for being
Thank you,
here.
beautiful Laurie. I appreciate you so much.
Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would want to cover before we say goodbye?
Um, just keep moving and eat well and get a PEMF machine. That's the trifecta for me. Nutrition, exercise, and frequency.
That's beautiful. I love it. So simple.
So simple. Absolutely has to be.
Well, thank you, Bernie, for being with us today and sharing your light and your knowledge with us here at the Be Awesome Network. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Lawrence and Jeffrey and Rebecca and Luigi and Kate and Anna for being here with us today. And I just really appreciate each and every one of you because you are a part of this community and you are awesome. And that's what I love to spread is the message that you can be awesome. You are awesome already, but coming together and sharing our knowledge and our skills and just helping one another along is really what it's all about. So,
Yeah, agreed. You're doing an amazing job.
thank you so much. Well, I
Thanks,
want to
gorgeous.
remind you guys that you are definitely awesome and that we can be awesome together. So if you have any questions for Bernie, she's already tagged in this post. Then she's going to drop some links below after our live. But I just want to be sure that you are encouraged, that you're not stuck, that you can move forward. If you're feeling like you need just that extra something, then go ahead and reach out to Bernie because you never know that might be the next step for you. So
Totally. I'd love to hear from everyone. Thanks, Laurie.
Thank you guys. And we will see you guys next time. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.